Her stuff taken care of. I should say. Castle Sewer. Right. All right. Huh. Interesting. I don't know if they don't run ads on my channel anymore, or if the ads are in a different place or something. Because before we used to get ads. Anyway, hello everyone. It is this is Chris Ingerson, and it is January 6th, and this is the January 6th TextQuest Dev Stream. So tonight we're going to be continuing on from where we left off from our prematurely ended segment yesterday, because everything was on fire at the place I worked at. Which fortunately we were able to get that solved, but it did take longer than I was hoping, so it didn't make sense to start streaming so late last night. So, yeah. Since last time, I have done a couple of things. The big thing is I have properly nudged all of my UVs, so things line up properly. So you can see that we don't have really nasty seams here anymore. Everything works. I have also baked a new light map, this time using ambient occlusion for the corners, which actually doesn't come off as strongly as I would have expected. Because this is with ambient occlusion at 2 strength, and it kinda looks like it's not really calculating it properly. So I'm not sure if the ambient occlusion is just kinda not that noticeable for this level, or if the way I've done my light maps just doesn't let it happen properly, or maybe the way that Unity calculates its ambient occlusion isn't working properly. It could be any number of things, so it's something I'll have to look into. But new light map, everything's baked properly. Things look pretty nice. Dark areas are dark, light areas are light, and our main chamber up here now actually has proper light mapping. I forgot to actually lay out the light map channel for this wall, and I didn't realize that until I was working on it last night after the stream ended. So all that's laid out now, and that means the only things we really have left to do is make a couple of substances, one for our waterfall here, and one for our water down here, as well as some new substances for the door and the ladder, which I also finished modeling out the ladder. I haven't textured it yet, because I thought that the texturing would be more interesting for people to watch on the stream. So I went ahead and just saved that for tonight. Also looking at this, it looks like the curve is a little extreme here. I don't like that. I'll have to live with it, I think. Maybe not. Let me see. Audio, new, water. There we go. Let's go ahead and just, can we move that? Okay, there we go. That's better. Sorry, that was a very tiny annoyance, but it was one that I wanted to try and fix. So, there we go. Everything's a little bit better now. So, without any further ado, we will open up Illustrator. Oh, and I will go ahead and show you. So this is what it looks like in Maya. I'll go ahead and open up recent files. Sure, we'll save. This is our ladder model. It's basically the exact same as the original one, except now it's in its own scene, makes it easier for us to export. And we will be making the texture for this and applying it to the ladder. So let's go over here, do a new image, call this sewer ladder. Don't need it to be 4K. Don't know why that was set to 4K. Let's see. So, I hate it when I do that. Call this sewer ladder. Make our base layer. Then we'll have our background. And then we will have our text. And I'm trying to decide. I could try to fit edging in and do some fancy rust effects. But you know what? We might do that tonight. It's Wednesday, and it's going to be an art heavy day texture wise, so might as well experiment. So we're going to make. Oh, right, let's go ahead and save this. So sewer ladder. Save that out. Okay. So if we go to Maya, you'll see that we have a basic ladder. And what would be interesting is if we could make basically this edging, so each one of these edges, if we could make that sort of like a rust effect inside of Substance. So Substance has the ability to do that. I have not really done something like that before, so it would be, I think, an interesting thing for us to experiment with. And it's something that I would like to learn how to do, because curvature maps and sort of a rust effect, which is usually based on curvature maps from my understanding, or maybe an edge map. We'll have to see what it does. So that would be something good to look at. So, go back here, and first things first, let's open up the original one. So here's the original ladder. So, let's move this down to the very bottom. Unlock it. And for some reason, it's not going to want me to... okay, I'll just put it at the very bottom. Alright. So, let's get rid of our stroke. Don't want it. Change our background to this color. And there we are. Just like that, there's our background. Now we have the very, very fun part of, let's lock that, because it's done, basically. So we need to figure out how we're going to do edging. So edging could be done a couple of ways. One way would be to try to do it in the texture itself. So if we go back to Maya, I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the old scene. Save, recent files, castle sewers. So we actually have a stair or a ladder in here, right here. And I believe, oh, I hadn't turned it invisible. Okay. F, zoom in on it. So you can see that it's a fairly basic layout. Let's turn down our floor, maybe even our walls and our water, because we just want to look at the ladder. So it's a fairly basic layout, but the trick is we're going to want to try to get rusting along all of these edges. Now we could do that a couple of ways. One way would be to actually have polygons, similar to what I do with the edging of the levels. And another way would be to have the texture basically be perfectly spaced. And you know what? I think it's going to be easier to use polygons, honestly, because we can use the actual edges as, or extra edges as sort of divides. So we'll give that a try. It'll make our polygon count go up a bit, but considering that this is only 174, that's actually not great. Then again, that's not bad. I'm willing to bet that most ladders probably have hexagons at least, octagons probably at most for their rungs, which means that instead of 4 quads like we have here, so if I select this, I'll have 4 quads selected, and octagon would have 8. So double that, basically everywhere. So I think it'd be fine for us to basically add this all up, because all that's really going to do is maybe double, maybe triple our polygon count, which would be at most 600 polygons, which is, that's nothing on modern computers. That's like a N64 limit. Actually, to be fair, N64 probably couldn't do 600 polygons. It could probably do like 300. So let's go back. Recent files, sewer ladder. All right. And we're going to try and do this. This is going to be very odd. And actually, you know what? So we're going to save, and then we're going to go ahead and... Is it that? No. Hold on. I always forget what it is. There's an increment in save. Control-Alt-S. Which basically just saves a new version of the scene as a separate file. So that way we still have our old file if we want to come back to it. We won't have to do anything extra. So let's go to edging. And shift, extrude. Oh, did not want to do that. Edge. Insert edge loop tool. We're basically going to just do this. And then we'll have to do it for all of our interiors as well. So actually, this might end up being pretty gnarly. But it might be worth it. Who knows? Well, actually, trying to think. Would I want to do it? Yeah, it would be in all of the corners, basically. Ugh, that's kind of brutal. Tell you what, we'll just do it really quick, and we won't do any UV layouts or anything until we figure out how many polygons it has. Because if it has a crap ton of polygons, I'm not going to do it. Because again, you know, my mantra of trying to make everything run on toasters. I think. Is there anything else? Probably need it here. Probably need it here. Need it here. 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 One, two. One, two. Ah, no, dang it. Of course it did a vertical slice. Ah, dang it. Hate it when it, really? Work with me here. Hate it when it does the opposite direction that I want it to go. Alright. Tell you what, let's just go down each thing quickly. That way we don't forget one by accident. This is way more work than we really need to do, but it's a good way to learn, I suppose. I'm going to be lazy and leave that. Alright, so let's go these guys. Fortunately, a lot of this is going to be very easy to lay out. It's just going to be a matter of getting things to properly be positioned. But since it's basically symmetrical, we won't have to do much. All right. Ah, no! Don't tell me I would have to do that too. I'm curious. It's at 1K. I really don't want to do that. That's way, way too much. We can fudge that, I think, with we'll just use the basic model. It's a recent file. Ladder. And I'm curious to see how the bakers inside of Substance Designer actually function. So we'll just try to bake a curvature map with this, see what we can get. We might not be able to actually because you might need a high-res mesh for curvature maps, but we'll see what we need to do. So let's get back to this then. And we're going to have to actually go to R. I can't do it. It's got to be above the background. Let's lock the background there. And let's get our text. So Commodore 64, we'll go up to 72, make sure that it's set to no anti-aliasing. Let's get our color here, and then let's start typing. Oh, right, I forgot. It never keeps the color for the first one. Alright. So that means that we can get the color from here. Set this to be 120, I'm guessing at least. And probably 72, 96. Okay. It's not bad. Let me think. I think we might try this. You know what? That's fine. Let me add a edges layer, basically. So we're gonna have our text. It's gonna be ladder. Oh, can't do that. LADDER. All right. So let's shrink this a little bit down to 96, 72 for our spacing. Okay, we need to go a little bit larger, 108. Really? But 120 is too much, huh? That didn't make sense. That actually doesn't look that bad. Well. Okay, hold on. Do it in right here. I guess we could do this. I prefer not to have that much of a noticeable space, so maybe I should try to space these out a little bit more. Let's go to 84. Delete our... Oh, I hate it when it does that too. When it doesn't select the actual text. Alright. So that's pretty good. But first, let's go ahead and set this to be like 240. Okay, not that much. 120. That's better. So that means that the rest of it needs to be shrunk a little bit. So let's change that. It was at 96, I want to say. Correct? No, it was at 84. That's right. So maybe 72 is the one we want, and then we can just make this... wrong one. Make this 120. No, that doesn't seem right. Okay, let's try 84 again. Right, it's close. It just sucks that we have L and R right here, because they're merging into one big weird shape. So... Can't do 84, let's do 80. Hate doing that, but I like to try and keep multiples of 12. So then we can highlight L, set that to be 96 maybe. Maybe even 108. That's much better. Okay. So we'll keep this and position it right about here. Alright. So that's going to be our repeating ladder that goes along the sides on the main poles. Then we'll need a second ladder. Of course, why would I ever want it to stay the same color? Have that be set to this. Let's see, change it to be 96 or 72. I think that was working. I guess we'll go 84 or 80 for consistency's sake. We'll go 84 just for the sake of it. So this one is going to be the interior. So the part of the ladder that's inside this section. And now we're going to need the individual steps and then the ends of the ladder. So let's go ahead and... Okay. Why didn't it? There we go. So we'll call this step. That's pretty much good as is, I think. Let's shrink it down to, oh, not 200. I'm guessing it's negative 100. Yeah, that's probably fine. Change its color. Aside from that, nothing special needs to be done to, oh, wait, nope, I lied. Position it there, I think. think. And then the last one is going to be our end point. So let's just get end typed out, select it, and then change our background. All right, and with that, we have got everything up, of course. Move this up, there we go. So we've got all of our parts. We have a bit of texture left to spare. Not sure what we want to do with that, because that's a lot of wasted space. Let's get our end here. Let's get our step. Oh, and something else I've been wanting to experiment with. I don't know if it would be good to, instead of using sort of these predefined colors, if it would be better for me to just make masks that I can then change inside of Substance. Because we've done some stuff that instead of having traditional colors laid out, I just have a crap ton of masks. And then that means I can change those colors at runtime. So that means that if I want to tweak colors, because I don't like a certain color, it would be very easy for me to do, as opposed to having to go into Illustrator, then re-exporting, then re-importing, then doing all that crap. So I don't know if that would be a good thing or a bad thing, because that would require, I think, more compile time at the beginning of the level, but I don't know. I think I'll keep it like this for now, but it's something that I'm thinking about changing in the future. All right, so we have our text, and next we need to have our edges. So our edges are going to be different. Would be the easiest way to say it. In fact, our edges might be more of a mask rather than part of the base color, maybe. That's kind of tough. We'll leave it. We'll make it a mask. We won't make it the base color, I think. Grab that. Put this above that. There we go. Okay, so there's our base, and that's all it's really going to do. So let's duplicate this. We'll have our normals. Let's unlock it. And that's all we need. All right, so let's have our background be 50% gray. And then our text is going to be white because it's metal on metal. Okay. Leave that as is. So that's the normal, not normals, normal. We can lock that up. Let's go to duplicate normal, call this masks. And here's where things get funky. So our background is going to be solid black. Oh, dang it. Solid black. And our text isn't really going to exist. So the text is there currently for reference, but we're actually going to delete it once we're done. So what we need to do now is have the actual edges here. So we're going to make this white. And this is going to be annoying, isn't it? Let's go ahead and stretch this out, make it 32. No. We'll make it 16. All right. Duplicate that, select it. Then we will move it. And we will move this one in a little bit. Right about there. Right about there. So they're right up against each other. Alright, let's duplicate this one. Move it so that it's right up against itself again. And then now 16. I'm just kind of eyeballing it. Not Not really trying to do anything too fancy. Let's see here. Let's grab this. 16 high. 16 high there. That's going to be problematic. I didn't think about it. I should have positioned that end a little bit better because it's kind of... The end is a square. I forgot about that. And this one's kind of rectangular, so we might have some problems with this later on. But we'll see what we can get away with. Chances are we'll end up just throwing this all out anyway. This mask part anyway. Why won't you go to 16? Alright. So, not perfect, but pretty good. Sue. Edges. Alright, that's the only mask that we really have, which is fine. So let's go ahead and delete this linked file and then turn these guys off. Hit save, and then let's start exporting. So let's save this out as an SVG. Alright. Then open recent files, sewer ladder. Delete the base and masks layer. So we just have our normal. Save that out, SVG. Underscore normal. Hit OK. Recent files, ladder. And save this out as mask. Ah, crap. Yeah, hold on. Don't save. Okay, recent files, sewer ladder. Okay. I completely forgot to delete our text. There we go. We don't need that anymore. So let me lock that and save this, and then we can delete these two guys. And then now save this out. SVG. Mask. Edging. Hit save. Okay. Alright. So next, I'm going to go ahead and go to object mode. We're going to lay out its UVs. Alright. Let me make sure that it doesn't have its other UVs laid out already. It does not, which is good. I'm going to select all these faces, and copy them into a new UV set and lay them out. Alright, so there's our light maps and our texture map UVs laid out properly. And now we can go over to Substance. New substance, we will call this sewer ladder. And link vector graphics. Sewer pipes, sewer ladder. Open. Alright. Did it not? What the heck? Huh. That's weird. What, was the engine still warming up? It's like it has to wait an extra second before it'll actually put it in. That's very awkward. Never had that problem before. Well, anyway, let's grayscale this. Let's grayscale that. Let's move this up here. This over here. And there's our base color. Bam. Probably end up changing that based on our edging, but for now, we're not going to worry about it. We're going to have a normal. We'll have a second normal. Make sure that both of them are set to be open GL. Alright. Sewer ladder. Alright, let's go to our normal maps. Do normal combine. Alright. Oh, right. I didn't add it. I was like, why is that not having anything? Alright, so there's our basic one. And I need to space these out more. Space that there. We're going to start doing just like 3 between each one. Just because that gives me plenty of space to work with. Alright. So there is our... There we go. Got my grid mixed up a little bit. So that's the first part of our normal. For the time being, I'm also going to have a uniform color, though later this will be a blended shape, I think. Be our roughness. Totally rough. And a... uniform color. I'm having so much trouble today. That will be our metallic. Technically, it'd be like all metallic, but we're going to leave it black for now, so it's easier for us to see. I'm also going to drag this down a little bit and zoom out, so I have more space to work with our nodes. Oops. Alright. So, we have our basic normal map set up. We have our basic color set up. But now we're going to have to start experimenting. This is going to be fun. I mean, actually, you know what we could probably do? File, export selection, and then do sewer ladder. I could probably actually do link 3D mesh. Go to game development, Unity, text quest, art, models, intro, castle, scenes. Let's do sewer ladder. Hit open. I think we can just drag it in here. Or not. Hold on. There it is. Double click. That's not as intuitive as I would have liked. So we can actually see what everything looks like. Ideally. Not sure why it's not showing up. Let's see. Do I have to say view output in 3D view? And that's going to be our base color, I believe. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Isn't that perfect? That's probably not going to be as helpful as I would have liked. Let's do bake model information, because I guess that was the main thing that I wanted. I didn't name it properly. Shame on me. Let's see. We can do an embedded one. Let's see. Can we do curvature? I'm not worried about converting UV to SVG. So curvature is going to be our thing. And this is going to be interesting because I've not done this. Show seams on the curvature map. Sure. I'm curious. Let's just see what it looks like. Fix resource into a mesh specific folder. Override parameters common to all bakers. Do I have to check these? No, that's okay. That's just right there. Okay. Let's see. Output size. It doesn't really matter because it's an SVG, so 1024 by 1024 is fine. UV set is 0. That is what we want. This is probably not going to go well. But we will see. I'm not worried about override parameters. Don't have a normal map. Crap. Don't tell me that I'm using direct. I'm probably using the DirectX rendering That's no good. Well, let's just see what this does. I'm curious. Not bad. Um, hmm. Okay. I'm gonna use that. What the heck? That's very strange. There's like a 1 second delay. It's very strange. Um, wait, why is it a bitmap? Didn't I tell it to use a SVG? Format SVG. But it came out as a bitmap, which is awkward. Okay. Huh. Well, all right. I guess that's just what it outputs to for some reason. Very strange. Huh. All right. Well, we'll just leave it as is for now, and we'll just leave it as a bitmap, which kind of sucks, but um, we'll see what we can do here. So I believe we want. I think there's a rust effect. We'll see what we can do with this, and how complicated. Seriously, I'm getting tired of having to hold it. It's really, really slow, and I don't know why. Okay, so we can have input. So I think we can do this. Reference to another graph. So we can have an ambient occlusion map, which I don't have. I wonder if I could bake that. I bet I could. Bake model information. Ambient occlusion map from mesh. Let's see. Nope, not worried about that. Quality. Let's just leave it at medium. Let's go ahead and bake. This is really interesting. I don't. That to me doesn't seem like a very good ambient occlusion map, but oh my god. But we'll leave it in there. I'm curious. So if we input this, what does it give us as our whoa? What? You can sort of see the if I were to input this. You can like sort of see, yeah, it just completely washes out. I don't think it's properly. Huh. Do I need to have a mask? No, I would hope not. But you can sort of see the curvature and stuff down here. So like if I zoom in down here, or better yet, ambient occlusion, you can see it's sort of working there. So we're inputting the curvature map. The curvature map seems to be doing what I want. The problem seems to be our ambient occlusion is just kind of shot to hell. Perhaps it has to be baked from mesh. So let me delete this. Delete that. Yes, I will remove that element. And then let's go to bake model information. Let's go ahead and delete that, and let's add ambient occlusion from mesh, which might mean that it has to have a higher. Yeah, it has a high definition mesh. Bah. Do world space normals. Does it give us the? Okay, so yeah, crap. Go ahead and get rid of that. So curvature works. Let's see if there's anything I can do with just curvature, or if I need an ambient occlusion map, I'll be kind of sad. So Rust is not working, obviously, so not functions. UR material. I don't know how many of these things are like buried somewhere. I get the feeling that that's what a lot of these are. Material filters, mesh adapters, weathering, that might be interesting. Clothware. Oh, edge damages, that could be interesting. Hey, with the delay again. I don't know what this needs. Let's see. Curvature? Instance filter contains a reference to another graph. Yep. Let's plug you in here. This is not giving me what I would like. Oh my god. I can't tell you how awkward it is having to float for like a quarter of a second, maybe. It's still so terrible. Let's try curvature map. Ooh, that's promising. Just out of curiosity, I want to see what the bottom one looks like. That's the invert, I'm guessing. Yes, it is. Sorry, I know I sounded really stupid there, but I was excited about it. So that's actually what I was looking for. Nice and simple. So let's go to our normal map. Just look at that. It's really nice. So now, excuse me. So now if we were to go to, say, view in 3D view and say normal, yeah, we'd get that normal wear. Ha 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 ha. It kind of looks bad because the UVs aren't laid out properly, but aside from that, that's actually very, very nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and put that here. So we don't even need an edging mask because we can just get that information from the mesh itself, which is very, very nice. I would like to try and output it as an SVG. I don't know why it came out as a PNG, but apparently did, which is very odd. So maybe curvature maps have to be an SVG, but that doesn't seem right to me. So I'll check into that. But let's see, what else do we have? So there's our roughness. Actually, that's going to be our edging. So that means that we're going to have to do. Let's go ahead and say add a blend node. Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. Well, I don't know how to blend these properly. Outside of having like two normal combines, basically. Which maybe that's what I have to do. So normally what I do is just stretch this out here. Let's go to normal map, do another normal combine. Why did you go all the way down there? We'll move this over here. Sorry. Put that there. Do another normal. Make sure it's OpenGL. Plug it in here. Plug it in here. So now this normal is going to be our first normal combine that's going to combine our rust edging with the actual sort of generic noise that the metal is going to have, which don't know what I want to make that. Let's just kind of test the waters here. Something like that's not too bad. So that means that we get this with the raised edges being our noticeably rusty parts, which are kind of actually hard to notice when it's like this. But we can try a fractal sun base if I hold it long enough. That's a little bit better. So we get some breaking up noise, but we don't get anything really distracting from our edging. And can I invert our edges? No, I guess it wouldn't make sense, would it? No, but I can invert this image. If I were to say, I think I have to go to filter or adjustments, invert grayscale. Once I hold it long enough, so that gives us our actual edging. And then we can do that. Because we don't want the edging to actually be up. We want the edging to be lower than the rest of it, because it's rust. Rust is, eats away at the paint and flakes off, so it's actually closer to the metal than the fresh metal would be. So we should get something like that, where it looks like it's digging into it. That's a lot better. Okay. Oh man, the UVs are going to be really awkward for this. I can already tell. That's not going to be fun. Not sure how well this is going to go, actually. I feel like it's going to turn out pretty bad. But we'll see. So. Suppose it means we can do a blend node down here, make this our base color. No. Make that our regular color. And then have uniform, grayscale. And there we go. So that would be our new roughness. So that means, let's put you here, put you here, put you here. So let's change this roughness to be, say, 200. And this roughness to be all the way to 1, because rust is going to be rougher than the metal making it up. So let's make this 150. Let's just go all the way down to 0. Is that even noticeable? Not really. It doesn't seem to be. It's very odd. Well, let's go 150, leave it at that. Oh, right, because I have to say, if you put in 3D view, roughness. I don't know why it does that. It's very distracting, though. So now if I were to adjust this, that's a lot more noticeable. Okay, there we go. Let's go 200. What happens when we make this 0? It's not as noticeable, but I think it's not terrible. Let's go ahead and make this 150 again. I'm very popular all of a sudden through email. No figure. Alright, so there is our normals. And that's our roughness. And do another blend node right there. Go ahead. Oh, crap. Let's grab this, make that our mask. And we'll have another uniform color, grayscale. And it's that. Put that there, put that here. So let's make this, say, 150. Actually, no, we'll make it 50. And 0. So slight change, but let's view it in 3D view as metallic. I didn't think that it was going to do much of a difference, but good to test it. And then the last thing we would want to do is do a blend node. Excuse me. Put this right here. So it's going to be our actual color. And then we'll need a different color for our rust. So I'm just going to say uniform color. We make it black. Plug that in right there. And that was actually very noticeable. Once we got a color in there to darken things up, that was very nice. Okay. I'm interested. I would like to actually do my UV textures and see what that looks like. Because I think once we do our UVs, I don't think we'll be able to use the baker. Because the UVs will all be diced up, basically, which will make them worthless. It sucks. I don't know if there's a good way around that. I'm willing to bet no. So, dang it, as cool as that is, the only way I think that we could do that is if we did sort of classical UV mapping, which would be, instead of mapping my UVs to the texture, I would actually map the texture to the UVs. Well, yeah, basically like that. So you can see that I have those outlines of the edging. I would have to take my ladder stuff, export this image, try to line up my text as well as I could within those confines, and then re-import the mesh back into this program, and then we'd be able to see those changes. So that would be kind of tough. Not impossible, just tough. We could do it. Good God. That is... Yeah, let's try it. It's always good to try new things. And even though this is an old thing, we're going to do it for the first time for this texturing process. So, let's go ahead and go to... Save this. Let's play it. Yep. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and bump this up to 1024. I don't like that it's not changing this resolution at all. So I can bump this up to 2048, and it's not gonna make a difference. That sucks. Go back to 1024, and we're gonna export this. So let's go to export as bitmap, PNG. All outputs, we only need the base color. And we'll hit export, close. Alright, so now we're going to be doing sort of an awkward reverse texturing process, which is super fun, let me tell you. Alright, sewer ladder base color. So now this texture actually has our UVs in a visible place. So we will be able... why is that? Oh, no, I know what that is. Okay. So we'll actually be able to try and line up text with our UVs. So that's going to end up changing a lot of things. So first off, we don't need our masks anymore, fortunately. We will need our normal, but that will happen after. Crap, come on. But that won't be needed until after we make our base anyway. So we'll just do what we usually do and duplicate our base to get our normal map. So let's go ahead and lock this layer. Let's open this up. Let's turn off our base layer, but we'll keep it there. And now we're going to make a new text layer. I'm just going to call this other one old. And lock it. Okay, so go ahead and go back here. And then this is going to be super fun. We're just going to start typing. Except, oh, this is going to suck. It's going to have to be really, really tiny. Alright. Let's zoom in a lot. And let's get our, yep, I knew that was going to happen. Always does. Go to 24. 24 might be too small. We might be able to get away with 36. All right. And let's go ahead and change our spacing. 24 is pretty good. Let's see what we can get away with here. Let's copy this. Paste, 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 paste. All right. We're going to try just using a return. So an extra space. That's, dang it. Really close, but we would have to shrink them. Hooray! My favorite. Oh, man. Great. So I have to hit space to actually do anything. So let's go ahead and say, make this 18. Make this 18 directly. Nope, it actually has to be spaced. Make it 18, space it. Make it 18, hit space. Make it 18, hit space. We're getting close, except 18 is still not enough. So let's make it 14. 14. 14. All right. 14 looks like it did the trick. And 14. Man, we're doing old school texturing. I don't like doing it this way, but this is, I guess, a good way to experiment, see if we can do edging effects and such. So let's go ahead, select that, let's duplicate that. Oh, no, not the whole text thing. Just this. Duplicate ladder, select it, and then we'll have to drag it over here. Alright. Then let's go ahead and select both of these. Let's duplicate both of them. Why it did not do what I wanted, I will never know. Duplicate that. Alrighty then. Just go over a little bit as much as we can. A little to the left. Alright. Not bad. Doing good. Doing good so far. The real question is going to come when we have to actually figure out which one of these steps needs to be right side up. That's going to be fun, I can tell you that. So we'll just probably take a sort of scattergun approach and try and do everything as best we can. So I'm going to go ahead and do front, back, sides, this up here. I'm arbitrarily going to decide that's the front or the back. Of course, back got sucked into that. All right, now we're going to duplicate this. Put this in over on the sides. Move this over to here. And we'll duplicate that again. And that's all we had to do. All right, so everything looks like it should be lined up properly. At least for the main ladder section. So I were to turn this off. Oh, wow. I'll be curious to see what this looks like in Substance. Alright, so, oh man, doing end is going to suck, because it's going to be so small. Ah. Alright, let's see. So next is going to be step. Let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and lock those layers. And let's go ahead and start typing. Somehow I knew that that would be too big. Negative 100. Oh, we're going to have to go even smaller than that, I think. 24. Nope. Come on. 24. Let's go ahead and move this back to be 0. Okay, so 24 might be too much. So let's go to 28. Yep, that's a little bit better. Also just realized I'm going to have to... Okay, not sure why I decided to do that, but... Alright, so let's change this to 24, and... I'm sorry, this was at 28 size. Alright. Right about there. Actually, let's go a little bit farther left. Alright, that looks good. And now we're going to start duplicating this. So, for those who have never done any sort of texture mapping, this is actually usually how it's done. So what you'll do is you'll create the mesh, then you'll go into something like Maya or Max, and you'll actually export its UVs as an image that you then bring into Photoshop or whatever program you use to texture, and then you try to basically line up your UVs with, or you try to line up the texture in a way that it works with the UVs. Now a lot, crap. I don't know if okay, wasn't sure if I duplicated that already or not. A lot of new stuff basically is getting rid of that, like Substance Painter gets rid of the need to do that. The only problem is that it doesn't quite work with how we need it to work, which is unfortunate. Actually, I wonder if it could work with what we need it to work, because you can do decals. Well, we might try to use Substance Painter on the next one, which is a door and is incredibly easy to do. So maybe we won't do it, but I'm kind of curious. That's probably something for me to experiment with on my own, actually, just because Substance Painter has a bit of a learning curve, and I've been messing with it more, but I haven't actually sat down to full on be like, yes, I will learn you now. And that's something that I really need to do. Okay, so let's select all of these. One, shift them over to the left by one, and then we're going to duplicate them. Grab them all, move them onto the back, grab them all again, and then drag them. Oh, of course, the UV. Ah, dang it. That's just evil. Of course, they're not exactly the same. Ah, that means that it's upside down, probably. Ah, dang it. I'm going to have to flip these, I bet. Let's see. All right. Let's go to the front. Let's unlock these, and let's lock these guys. So I'm curious. I'm going to go ahead and do a quick test export. Delete the normal again. Let's get rid of our old text. So I'm going to export this and bring it back in and see what it looks like. Let's turn that on. Save this, and let's save it out as an SVG. Save. That's fine. Alright, let's close this. Open Substance again. That's interesting. It looks like we went crazy. Come on. Uh-oh. Ah, that's an error I haven't seen in a long time. Why are you doing that to me? God, I hate it when it does this. It means that something stupid is going on with our layering, I bet. I have no clue as to why. Alright, so let me select that. Lock that. Maybe I need to delete this for some reason. Let's save that out. Let's try this one more. Oh, that was the SVG. Well, you know what? We can save that. That's fine. Let's reload. Yes. Okay, so it looks right here. The question is, does it look right out here? There we go. That's not what I was expecting. So since it's so low res, it's kind of coming in as garble. That does not look very good. Is it spaced like that? No, it's not. It's probably because it's so tiny. So to get a real sense of this, we would have to look at this in player. Yeah. Get it out of your system. So it actually looks right in player, and then we should be able to bump this up to 1024. Interesting. Oh, right. It's still the cube. That's about right. Do a load mesh. Let's see, this PC, disk drive, game development, Unity, text quest, art models, and intro, castle, scenes, and sewer ladder. Alright, here we go. It's not bad. I think the edging effect is a little messy. It comes off as very low res. So there's 512. Everything sharpens up a lot when we go to 1024. What happens if we go to 4K? Everything is very nice and crisp, which is good. But the edging never really improves, which kind of frustrates me. I don't like that. It just looks wrong. But then again, it's edging, so it's kind of supposed to look like that. And it could just be that it's kind of an awkward effect since the normal maps and all the textures haven't lined up yet. And it is Rust, so it's meant to be like a very subtle thing. But it just looks like the UVs don't quite match up. And I'm wondering if that's because the Baker is probably designed around an actual good layout for a UV map, which obviously my UVs can't really do because they're not designed to be done like that. So I might... I think I'm going to continue. Just I'm curious. Is this upside down? Haha! Called it! Told you it would be upside down. So I might end up calling it, or I might... I don't know, I'm curious to finish it, but it looks like it's such a messy result for so little gain. Like, I actually think it looks worse with the edging on it. But it's also hard to tell because when it's in Unity, it looks very different. Because this by itself doesn't look bad, but it is kind of awkward because I'm putting such a fine detail onto something that by its nature needs to be a little more clear and can't really use so fine of a detail. Here, I'm curious. Let me look at it in Unity. So, see, this is one of my... And to be fair, it doesn't have lighting applied to it because it was disabled during the bake. But you can see that there's no real defined edges. So things just kind of seamlessly bleed into one another. That's really interesting. And I think edging would take care of that. So if we look at it from below... I mean, the way the words are laid out, it's very obvious the silhouette is there, but it's only a silhouette. It doesn't have the fine edging details. Okay. So I guess we're going to finish this up then. That's what we're going to do. We're going to focus on getting this to look right with traditional texturing. Hey. Which does mean, actually, that I need to flip some UVs. So let's go. Come on. Okay. Alright. So, I'm going to open up my UV editor. Select our faces. Rotate the ones that we know are not set up properly. And I'm going to go ahead and display checkerboard. That way we know which ones are right side up, which ones are right side down. Right. Okay, so the sides are correct. Now the front and the back are correct as well. Those are our tops. I'm guessing that these are our bottoms. Yep, so these two are unimportant, basically, these two faces. I don't really texture them at all. That's good to know. Now, the other question is, what are these sides? Why are they like that? And I would like to make sure that they're all facing the correct way. So these guys aren't sides, they are actually ladder sections. Okay. Okay. All right. Now what about you? So this guy needs to be turned around. No, he does not. What the heck? Come on, work with me here. Ah, there we go. Okay, well, fortunately, it seems like everything's working properly, I would guess. Or at least they're all oriented in roughly the same manner. So that means that I should be able to texture everything. And at the very least, if there's anything that's flipped, from this point on, it'll be very easy for me to flip it inside Maya and then just re-import it. And then it'll be facing the right way. So, let's go to object mode. I'm going to rename this from pcube. I'm going to call it ladder. And actually, I'll just call it ladder. And we'll hit edit, delete history, hit save, and then file, export selection, sewer ladder. Okay. Let's go back here. Let's reload that. Now our background should be proper. Yep, except our texture is going to have to change. We'll need to rebake our light map too. We're going to go ahead and say new folder. Call this mesh. All right. So first things first, save, then we'll right click and say bake model information. We don't need ambient occlusion. That's not necessary anymore. Right. So SVG. Maybe we can make it linked. Let's go ahead and select this PC, hard drive, game development, Unity, TextQuest, art, substance, I suppose, environment, castle, sewer, and we'll have to do it here. I don't like that though. I guess it would actually be more art, textures, environment, intro, sewer. It'd be in here. Okay, so it's going to be mesh, baker name. Okay. So let's try baking this again. Hit OK. And then, oi, what is up with my stuff tonight? I don't know what it is, but my taskbar doesn't want to hover. Everything's kind of acting odd. I don't know what's up with my computer tonight. Not sure. Seriously? Like I can't. I can't even get this back up to close it. Seriously. Okay then. Oh, and that was a mistake. I should not have closed that. It's gone off to the ether. Since I can't pull these folders up for some reason. Okay, well, fortunately, I think that was just the source image folder, so I don't actually have to worry about it. But I did it again. It exported as a PNG. So this is kind of frustrating. I would prefer to bake these out as SVGs if I could. And I should be able to, as far as I know. Or maybe I have to check that off. Worth a shot. And for some reason I can't do that. Arrgh. So it just doesn't seem to output an SVG, which kind of sucks and makes me angry. Rename this. So let's remove this. Yes. We will delete that. We will bake model information. Oh, that just broke everything, didn't it? Hit OK here. Come on. Jeez, that's ridiculous. I bet that's why Substance was going crazy. Or is going crazy and we have that weird lag. I don't know if that's OBS again or what, but it seems to be causing some noticeable bit of lag. I don't need this SVG at all anymore. I can actually get rid of that. Okay. So we have our ladder. All right. And now we can save. Go to play, because we'll have to export that image again. Yes, I know. Let's go to 1024. Export as bitmap. Only need our base color. PNG. Hit export. Close. All right. So let's go to recent files. Sewer ladder. Delete that. Or not. I suppose it's fine. All right. So let's go to back. Of course, it's going to be kind of laggy. Just drag it down. Right about there. Okay. Ah, the texture is messed up, so that's going to be hard to keep an eye on it, but we will have to live with it. Okay. So it looks like it's impossible to tell what I've done because it's got the old stuff in there, but because we can highlight everything so we can see that we've done it. Let's go ahead and save that. And now we're going to start doing these sides. Except some of these are ladders. Right. Forgot about that. So, fun. Go ahead and start doing this. Inner. Not sure what else to call it other than inner. Alright, so let's say ladder. Oh my god, the lag is terrible. It's almost like I have a memory leak or something. This is really bad. Oh no. Okay. Weird. Something is eating up a lot of my processing power, and I have no idea what. Let's find out. I'm curious. Oops. That's what I want to do. Control Shift Delete. Not sure why. So let's see. No, we're only using 25% of my CPU and only 40% of my memory. OBS is the most intensive at 10% for the CPU. So I don't know what is causing this lag. But it's very frustrating. Anyway, let's grab this. And this is going to have to be like teeny tiny. 8 pixels. Oh, that was the wrong. Dang it. 12 pixels. Okay, and not teeny tiny. 14. Okay, you know, maybe we can get away with this. 18. Right there. 10 padding. It's not bad. Can we go to 12 though? I'm going to shrink this down to 14. And down to 10. Not ideal. But the D's are the problem. They're very tall. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. Drag it out over here. Duplicate this. Drag that out over here. Duplicate that. Drag that out over here. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Right. I'm guessing that these shorter ones are the inner parts, and these taller ones are actually these steps. That's my guess. I have no idea if that's true or not, but we'll see. Alrighty, then zoom in here. Not bad. Let's duplicate that selection again. Let's move it over. About there. Duplicate it again. All right. Duplicate that. And then, all right. So, there's our inner, and then now let's have our steps. Hit save. Zoom out a little bit. And then, let's go to our text object, and let's make something called step. All right, let's select this, and then let's get our color and size from that step, since they're going to be the same roughly. Let's rotate it that way, and hopefully it will fit perfectly. It's a little bit of a tight squeeze, but I think we'll be fine with it if I just move it up a little bit. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's duplicate that. Move it over to here. Let's duplicate both of them. All right, let's move this over to here. Move it up a little bit. And then duplicate that. So while I'm doing this, so it's Wednesday night, and not a lot of people are on the stream. Obviously, I'm not some huge Twitch streamer. You know, I don't get like 10,000 views whenever I do anything. But surprising that not. Well, I have one viewer, don't I? Thank you, anonymous viewer. But I'm wondering if I should switch up my schedule. So I can try broadcasting at different times on maybe different days. Instead of doing this like all one at a time, why don't I just do that? Hold on. Oh joy. Sorry. So I'm wondering if it would be good for me to say maybe broadcast at 6 p.m. Eastern time on Wednesdays, as opposed to, say, the normal 8 p.m. I don't know if that would be better for people, if that would be worse for people. Um, so I would like to try and sort of gauge people's opinions on that, since that might be a good thing to do anyway, just so that I can try and reach different audiences. Since obviously some people can watch at certain times, and other times other people can watch. Hello, Narcos vs. Zombies. How have you been? Duplicate this. And then we should be done. And now we can actually test this. Oh, actually we got to do the end piece first. So there's our steps, and then we're going to have ends. Let's select that. And let's just type out end. Doing fine. Yeah, it's the holiday season. It's okay to put on a little bit of weight. And hit OK. Then let's select our color. Alright, let's change its size to be 12. Zoom in here. Let's grab it, and let's move it down to here. And let's change our spacing to be -50. Or even better yet, -100. Alright. Let's go one to the left. Duplicate this. Yeah, holidays are the time to put on weight. Because, I mean, all you do is eat and sleep, so it's not like you can really do much to prevent it. Let's go ahead and duplicate that, move it over here. Duplicate that. Let's grab this. And bam. So there's our texture map for the ladder. Ugh, it's crazy. So we'll go ahead and let's do that. Let's get rid of our linked file. Let's save this out and say save it as a SVG. Sewer ladder, hit OK. Alright. So now if we go back here, we should be able to reload this. And now it is garble because it's at a terribly low resolution, so we actually have to play it in Substance Player first. If we can even do such a thing. Wait. Alright. Okay, so our normal map's still messed up because it's the old normal map, but aside from that, 512 does not look good. I don't like that ladder. I really wish I could use a larger font size. I think I'm going to try to do so too. It looks a little thin to me because there's a lot of extra space basically. The steps look good. Do you have anything that's upside down? Nope. But now we gotta do the moment of truth and look at it from this way. Oh wow, that came out beautifully. Because it should basically go step, 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 and then on the other side it would be readable as well. But this is the front, so nice. So I think it's worth the extra effort to do all this because we actually get a pretty nice edging effect with that curvature map. So you can see the nice edging along it. And it is actually distinguishable, so it's not just like bleeding into itself. So let's go back to Substance. Actually, let me close this. Because I probably have like 5 of them open and I can't close them! So, let's hit save. Actually, you know what? Oh, I don't have my task manager open. Control-Alt-Delete. Get my task manager. I am going to close. Well, apparently I'm not, because Substance Player just does not seem to be actually doing anything right now. Well, that's awkward. Fine, be that way. So, let's go ahead and do this. This, and I think I'm also going to go ahead and do the mask colors like I said I was going to do. So we'll go back here to Illustrator. Let's close the sewer ladder stuff. Go ahead and open sewer ladder. Get rid of the old stuff. Alright. So let's change our background to be black. And our foreground to be white. Alright, and then of course we're going to... Oh, freaking really. Right, so give me a second here. Right, of course there's no way to do it. So I'm going to have to drag this off to the left then. Hooray! Bring back up Illustrator. Now I can manually click on this crap. And let's drag our linked image back in. Seriously, don't be stupid. Ugh. Why is it being stupid now? It just likes to see me suffer. So let's see here. Especially since we weren't having this problem before. Let's do a new layer. Drag in the PNG. Okay. Why is it doing that? Why do I have to... of course I have to drag it onto the actual canvas. Drag my base up here, and let me turn off my background. Alright. So now we gotta blow up our ladder text here a little bit more. So, can we select all of them at the same time? Make them 16. I believe we can, and that's actually not bad. We don't need to even reposition them any. So let's see what we can get away with. So can we go to 18? We can, but we would need to do 11 pixels. That's not bad. That's actually okay, I think. So that looks way more presentable. So we can probably move up by 1 pixel. Okay, I think that will look a little bit better. It'll still look a little cramped. I need a drink. This is the joy of traditional texturing. Trying to get everything to fit in pre-allocated spaces rather than manipulating the UVs themselves to fit a texture. It's not very fun. And I am probably not going to do it for a lot of things, but I was curious to see if we could do it. So that's turning out... You know, we'll try it as is, see if it works. So let's... Oop, I almost forgot. Sorry. Let's lock that, turn that up, and let's delete. All right. So now we're basically going to use this as our mask to adjust these colors at runtime. So let's go ahead and say... Save this as sewer ladder. We're just going to say sewer ladder mask. Hit save. Alright. So let's import or link vector graphics. And sewer ladder mask. Don't understand how it works. So what we're doing is normally, if you remember when we do UV layouts, we have the texture that we make separately. Then we export a PNG. We look at that when we do our layouts, and we just sort of position the UVs manually inside of Maya. But normally what happens is you position your UVs inside of Maya, then you export that as a PNG or a Targa or something, and then you bring that into Photoshop and use Photoshop to map your texture to the UVs. So we were kind of doing it backwards because it worked really well for the game, for the aesthetic. But to do this edging effect that I wanted to try in Substance, I couldn't do that anymore because I wanted to bake a curvature map, which is what this is. And that way we could actually do a rust effect, so you can see that it's a little bit darker here on the edges. If I didn't have an actual good UV layout, it probably wouldn't work. So I had to do a more traditional UV layout to actually get it to properly edge things along. So let's go back up here. Let's move this up here. You can do it. Oh wow, that works really well. So that works as both the mask and the normal map. Go figure. Hello, ATEC. So let's make this grayscale. Let's go ahead and add a blend node. Do it right here. Let's do a uniform color for the top. Uniform color for our secondary color. And I'm not sure what color we want to try and do, because I guess I can't get the hex value, so I'm going to have to eyeball it. So this should be our background color. Wonder if I can do... Oh, look at that. I can do that. Ha! Victory. Let's do pick. Aha! So there's our blend node. Looks basically the same as our old one. Things are a little different size though, which is fine. And now we can do this. So it's a very slight difference, but now we can actually adjust these colors at runtime if we want, which makes this a little bit more flexible. So we can delete this, which means that we don't even need these two masks anymore. So basically we've compressed all of our masks down, or all of our images down to one mask, which is really nice. Let's put this up here, put this down there, and let's scoot them over. Put this right here, right there, and I think we can, might be able to get away with doing this even. Whoa, that's, oof, very noticeable. Oh, Substance Designer. Are you using Substance Painter instead, or have you just kind of dropped off of the Substance thing recently? So here's our final rust, or our final color with rust in it. Not bad. So let's get rid of this. And actually, I'm going to do a levels. Levels. So let's get this. Plug that in right there. And I'm going to make this a little bit... I always forget how to do it. There we go. So 50% gray. Just so that the normal map isn't like ridiculously bumped. Yeah, I've been wanting to get into Painter more, but A, I don't have a tablet, so I'd have to be using mouse stuff. And B, the last time I tried to use it, I had really, really frustrating interface problems trying to do any sort of normal painting or height map painting. Because I was trying to use a stencil and it just kept like rotating crazily, and I had no way to stop it from rotating properly to make it stamp correctly, and it was very frustrating. So I want to get back into it, but I've just been. It takes time for me to do something like that. But hopefully I'll be able to work it into TextQuest because, originally I was using just Photoshop for textures, and then one day I was like, you know what? I paid for Substance Designer. I should freaking use it. So once I figure out how to make Substance Painter stuff needed in TextQuest, then I will start using Substance Painter probably. Uh, until then. Okay, so let's save and then see what this looks like in player. Yeah, it's fine. That actually looks pretty good. Go to 1024. Not bad. That came out a lot better than I was expecting it to. I just hope that the rust doesn't come off as looking like it's artifacts or something, because it kind of does. And that could be because I have such harsh curvatures. Since it's not really a curvature, it's just a break. But it's not that bad. I kind of like it. Okay. And of course, the only downside is that since I guess I could bump the curvature map up to 2K. Maybe that would help a little bit. I can't imagine it doing more than just really increasing the file size, but you know what? Let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and go to bake model information. Let's go to curvature. Let's see. Let's make it 2K. And again, I really don't know why they couldn't make it an SVG, because I chose the format as SVG, but it always puts it out as a PNG, which kind of sucks. But that's how it goes, I suppose. So let's go ahead and just rebake this. Hit OK. Should bake everything. Oh dear. Now it's like, that might not be good actually. I might want the lesser one. Let's see. And again, it sucks because it's hard to tell inside a Substance Painter, but 1024. That's not making a huge difference. It's less apparent, I think. But at that point, it's so subtle that it's not really worth it, I don't think. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by, Narcos. Always good to see you. So, I think I'm going to go back to a lower res bake for this. Let's go to bake model information. Let's bake it out at 1024. Hit OK. Just because it's darker this way, and it makes it way more noticeable. So I'm going to do that, and then now I'm going to start exposing everything. So first things first, let's go ahead and say expose. Call this rough. Okay. Expose. Rough. Okay. Expose. Rust metallic. Expose. New metallic. All right. So let's see. We got everything here. Don't have anything on the normal front that I need to worry about. Curvature map is fine. I wonder if I should get rid of seams. I'm actually kind of curious to see what that looks like. So I'm going to do a quick bake again. And I'm going to say turn off seams. I'm curious to see what that... Oh! Well, let's not do that because that's completely pointless. So it's actually not really baking curvature as much as it's baking seams, um, which is, I suppose, understandable. And then there's our final normal map. Okay. Um, yes, I see you, cat. Ugh, cat loves the attention. Alright, so I've already exposed my metallic and roughness maps. So now I need to actually expose these. So let's expose... Oh, crap. Cancel there. I always expose it over here. Expose. New. We'll call it color. Okay. Expose this. Call it text color. And then expose this and call it rust color. Okay. I think that's all of the things I need to expose. So now I just need to frame everything up. Let's do add frame. Up, over one. Call this color. Make it green. Add this frame. Make this red. And call it masks. Alright. This is going to be a big one. Although I'm actually going to want to move these things down a little bit. So let's select all these guys, say add frame, move up and over one, call this normal. Alright, thanks for stopping by, ATEC. And, oh, you know what, actually, if you got a minute, I should have asked Narcos this as well. I'm trying to think up. I'm trying to think if I should vary my streaming times, since Wednesday seems like it's a pretty dead night for a lot of people. So I'm wondering if I should stream earlier on in the day or something, just to try and get things sort of switched up. But I'm not sure what people would think of that. And for the most part, I suppose it would be to try and reach people that aren't normally getting on the stream because they don't watch during this time. But I'm not sure if that would be a good idea or not, because I know a couple of people do that. It might be worth experimenting. But I wanted to ask some people what they thought of that. If they thought that would be a good idea or not. So, but anyway, thanks for stopping by the stream. Always good to see you guys. So I'm going to add frame here. Move this up, move this out. Yeah, I think for the most part it's for either people who like to listen to dev streams at work if they have that ability, or people who aren't in the U.S. So it's probably worth experimenting with just to see if it works. But I'm honestly not sure. But thanks for your opinion. I always like to ask people what they think. So add frame and then up one and over. And then metallic. Yeah, okay. I think I might try that now. I'll probably start doing that next week. So that's everything. And let's go ahead, say save, and then let's mess around with it in player. See what it looks like. Alright. 1024. Everything looks pretty nice. I didn't name these properly, but that's fine. So rust metallic is going to be 0. Like this, 0.2. Let's have our base rough be 0.75. seem to do too much. And then let's just adjust our colors. So that's what our rust looks like when it's... oh, that's even better. Okay, so the key to rust isn't dark colors, but brighter colors. Alright, thanks for stopping by, ATech. That's curious. That looks like something out of Silent Hill. So let's go back to slightly more orange. See if we can brown it up a bit. Here you go. Don't want to go too dark. I'd like it to stay noticeable. Something like that. I just wish I could stretch the curvature map a little bit. Okay. It's not bad. Let's see. Okay. I think that's worth exporting. Bringing this into Unity, seeing what it looks like. Alright. So let's go ahead and get the usual stuff taken care of. So we'll go over here. Go to label. Sewer ladder. Author Chris Ingerson. ChristopherIngerson.com. Of course, we gotta go through all this stuff. Rust ref. Slider. Make it true. Base ref. Slider. Now let's make it 0.75 and clamp it to true. Rust metallic. Let's go to slider. Clamp it. And of course, base metallic. Color slider. Let's make it 0.2 and clamp it to be true. Right, so we have color. All that stuff's fine. Text, color, and then rust color. And let's go ahead and adjust that to be sort of a brownish color. There we go. Something like that. That's pretty good. Save that, export it, and sewer ladder. Alright, so now we gotta do the fun stuff. Select this. Create. I'm gonna go ahead and say castle. Create folder and then sewer. Create folder ladder. Which, of course, man, can't win. I have to drag this stuff over. Yep, no, I'm going to have to drag this stuff over. Okay. So let me pull up Unity, grab my FBX, sewer ladder. Alright, and then we'll have to go to substances, castle, sewer. Let's go ahead and grab our sewer ladder. Alright, so sewer ladder is going to have to be scaled up. Let's see, castle sewers, how much was this scaled up? 250. Woo! Okay, so I guess this is getting scaled up to 250 times. Let's hit apply. Let's go to, has no animation, hit apply. Has no No animation to import. We'll hit apply on that. All right. Let's get our, we don't want a fawn, we want our sewer ladder. Just put that right there. Zoom over to it. And we're going to have to position it properly. Hit F. All right, that looks pretty good. And of course, we'll have to bake a light map before we can really do anything with it. We'll also want to increase its texture size to 1024 by 1024. So can't really see anything until we bake a light map, and I can't really bake a light map on the stream. So it's in Unity. That's exciting to me. And I think the rest of this is going to have to probably be done off stream, which is probably fine. It's kind of a slow night, and I feel like OBS for some reason is interfering with my applications. It might not be OBS. It might just be maybe I need to restart my computer for some reason. I don't know. But things seem to be running a little bit slow tonight. So we got a lot of stuff done. Subjectively, we got a lot of stuff done. The main thing was we experimented with the Substance Designer curvature map system, which is what I really wanted to do. And it created an interesting rust effect. I would like to see if I can expand on that, make the rust more noticeable. But for the time being, I think it works pretty well. So, yeah. We'll go ahead and call that a stream. I will try to get a image posted of what the ladder looks like with the light map baked on top of it and all that. And we will continue on from this tomorrow. We'll probably be doing programming actually tomorrow. I'm going to try and get a lot of art stuff done tonight because I'd like to get this level done art-wise by the end of this week. So anyway, thank you all very much for watching.